I just felt like what I was doing was wrong. I didn't like the feeling of going to someone's bank and taking most of the money that they got every month. My name is Hillary Andrews, and I worked for a payday lender in Auburn, Alabama about 7 years ago, and I worked there for about a year. It's all pretty much cut and dry. People come in and sign these payday loans or whatever, and you give them the money, and then they kind of walk out, and you expect not to hear from them again for 2 weeks, and then you don't hear from them for 2 months.
My name is Candy Wiley, and for me it was because I was the only breadwinner. So when the lights need to be paid, I run short, I would run over there, and they made it easy. I needed $200. They said, well, I'll tell you what, we can let you have $5. Wow, really $5? Okay, good. Okay, so then I went to another one. I'm like, can I get 2? Well, we can let you have 3. Okay, cool. Well, that's $800 I got out right there. And before I wind up, I was like 9 loans out. But then when it comes time for you to look at your paycheck and say, okay, I got $500, so I gotta get them $587.50. Okay, that took a chunk out of that. Okay, now I gotta go over here and I gotta get them $352.50. Okay, when I got through, I might have $200 out of 2 weeks. You go give them $87.50, which I have $500, but I'm still, it's just a vicious cycle. And they get to the point where you do become, they become the master. And you do become the slave. People say, well, how could you keep going back? How could you keep doing that? And I said, because they make it easy.
I was in a very abusive relationship, and I'm tired, you know, you want to pack up, you just want to leave. Got one of the flyers in the mail. I think I borrowed $200. I needed to put down on the moving truck to help me move to the new house. I didn't have it. I made my first payment. Second payment, my interest started coming down. Third payment, I wasn't feeling good, didn't want to get up. I called the folks, told them, you know, I know it's almost 7 o'clock. They close about 7. I know it's almost 7. It's like, you're going to be there because I don't feel good. I really don't want to do this, but I want to pay you because today's the day, and I know you guys don't even allow 24 hours. Oh, Miss Fuller, come on. We open until 7, maybe 7:05, you know, just for you. I get there. She's like, no, we're closed. She's waving. I'm like, but look, I got the money, you know, in the window. You can look. She's like, no, you're going to have to come back. I went home. I went to sleep. Didn't feel good. Heard a lot of commotion in my backyard. A tow truck, 3, when I tell you 3 big guys, I mean, it looked like part of a football team. I'm like, who are you and why are you in my yard? What are you doing? I have the money. I went down there. They wouldn't even, it was a no-name tow truck. It didn't say, well, I'm here from so-and-so. They just kept going about their, I was like, wait a minute, I'm calling the police. They were like, you better. What are you doing? I said, I have the money. The doors were locked. Well, I came out here. I come to get something. Wow, I cried. I cried.
My journey began with payday loans through my husband. I have worked 27 years here in Birmingham, Alabama in medical sales. One day when I went into the bank, I went to cash a $25 check, and I was told by the banking institution I had no funds. So at that time, my daughter and I went into the bank to identify where the problem was, only to look at a computer screen full of 24 institutions of payday loans. Honestly, I did not really realize what was taking place until we started investigating. I was living my life with my 2 children and my husband, and thinking that we were doing very well. He started out with $150. Reasons being, he never shared with us. From there, it escalated to $500. I think at the last one was like $5,000.
And it gets to the point where they're calling, they're threatening, you know. I mean, I've had them to come and put notes on my door. You know, just the name, not anything threatening, but you know, they know where you live, you know. Or they'll tell you, well, we do have your check, and that is fraud, you know, so you wrote a bad check. We can't turn it over. And you're like, oh my God, you know, okay, I'm gonna go to jail. So with all of that, I wound up going to debtor's court.
I couldn't afford to get my car back. I was working at a temp service, the only work I could find after having left my husband. So I ended up walking. I left at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I got there about 5:15, cut my income down. I lost my power in August because I couldn't keep up all the bills because I didn't have a good job. I had to show up at the temp agency, and sometimes they'd send me, sometimes they didn't. You know how much it just sucked to get up at 3 in the morning, leaving your kids home, and sometimes didn't get sent out to work and had to walk back home and tell them, well, today you're going to have peanut butter and jelly again.
No matter what I was doing, it was just a constant cycle of getting deeper and deeper. My children were about to go to college, and they were juniors at this time. What ended up in my lap was a house that had not been paid, life insurance that had been closed, a bank that was empty, and along with that, $80,000 in debt. And so in the end, we had a divorce, we lost our home, we lost our life.
I hated my job. I felt like I was taking advantage of people, and it was my job to do that, and it didn't seem right to me. We would get up early on the days that government checks dropped, and we would go and try to beat people to the bank to get their money. I would drive in the mornings and be there when the bank opened, and along with other payday officers from other lenders, and we would go, and whoever got to the counter first got the money. And then by the time you got back to the store, usually the people that you had just cashed their checks were waiting on you so they could come and re-sign because you had just taken all of their money.